Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and this afternoon I'm joined by Chris McElwain and Sean Connolly. We're here, of course, to talk about Ross County nil, Celtic 1. How did you enjoy that first half, Chris?
I thought it was quite an enjoyable watch, despite the lack of goals. We're certainly not getting it all our own way, and the surface is pretty horrendous. You can see that with the the amount of times the ball's kind of bobbling, it's not travelling at speed. But do you know what? Overall, I think it's been a pretty decent performance. We've been a wee bit loose in possession at times, but do you know the biggest thing I've enjoyed is seeing both Ida and Kyogo on the pitch at the same time. I'm not entirely sure that Kyogo is ever going to play like a traditional winger. I mean, he's spent as much time playing kind of in that number 10 role or even in the number 9 role. He's been in the box quite a few times. But I'm really enjoying his movement. I like the link-up play. Engels is having a pretty decent influence. And to be honest, I think, it was Ryan mentioned it on our group chat. I think if it hadn't been for the Ross County keeper, we'd be about 3 goals up, particularly towards the end of the latter part of the first half there. I thought we started to show a bit more dominance. We were getting in amongst the box. But for a wee bit of scrappy play, we'd probably have scored another one. But yeah, comfortable, I would say. Comfortable and some good football, good build-up. And you know what? I'm going to say it. Yang's doing a decent job out there on the left-hand side. He's doing all right. There's a couple of occasions he played it back and I thought, oh, what are you doing, son? But he's been okay. He's been okay.
I was critical last week of Yang's contribution in terms of goals and assists, Sean. I think, I looked at that and thought, well, he's only created 4 assists and scored 1 goal in a Celtic jersey. But you know what? Every time he's on that part, the commentator says he looks lively. He looks lively, and that's enough. I still think he needs to create chances, but no, he's not having a bad game. I don't think anybody's having a bad game, Sean.
No.
And there's quite a few talking points. Obviously, there's been a few chances saved by the goalkeeper, of course. But let's bring some of these chances in. Before I do that, what's your take, Sean, on the role of Kyogo? He does look as though he's quite happy to rather than be that fixed focal point of the Celtic attack. He can drift inside, he can go out wide, and he's getting a bit of space, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about it before the game. That it'd be interesting to see because our wingers obviously score more goals than our strikers, and I think he's had more chances than he's had in a game in a while. He's had 3 very good chances. The first one he can't quite get his feet set, which was really the case for most players in the first half hour before the pitch started to thaw. They were doing a really good job of moving and passing the ball, but they just they couldn't get their feet set. A lot of all the chances we had in the first half an hour were just from kind of basically determination and commitment and getting on the end of bouncing balls and bobbles and that one that does Kyogo can't quite get out his feet and he does hit it straight at the keeper, but then he gets the one where he does score. It's a good finish and he should get another straight after that. The Ida flick that the keeper saves well. And Kyogo actually does get set well and does get a good shot, and it's a really good save, double save from the keeper. And then all of that, I don't want to be not to be critical in any way, but I will point out that there was one. You're saying nobody's had a bad game, and I would agree, but Trusty almost puts his 1-0 down with it. Really,
he does, yeah.
Bad touch, and the Ross County player really should be putting that on target and potentially scoring.
See that one, Sean, and again, like you say, it's not trying to be overcritical. I've been really impressed with the first half performance, despite the weather and the conditions. But Trusty's got a habit of getting caught under the ball. It's not the first time, so I'm not actually going to blame that on the conditions. I know that you could maybe misjudge the bounce of a ball, etc., flight of the ball if it's windy, but you can't use that as an excuse for me today. So yes, absolutely, rid that of your game, because on a day like today, where let's be honest, Celtic have dominated the first half. That's all it takes. One individual error, and then then we're going in at half time, possibly at 1-1 rather than being ahead. Now, Pete McGee comes in on the YouTube to say quickest VAR decision in history to deny us. Now, the thing is, right, what I want to do with this is pass it over to our resident referee, because I was looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, listen, it's a strange thing to discuss because Rio should go down initially. It takes a wee while to go down. But I still think, I do still think that there was an infringement there. Sean, what do you think?
I think it's one of those ones. VAR's not going to intervene, whatever's given on the pitch. And personally, I wouldn't give it because Hitati's off balance before the ball even before he even gets the ball really, and it's not. An opposition player is not under any prerogative to stand back and watch a player regain their balance before they challenge. So I think it's more on the fact that Hitati's off balance and the guy's put in a fair challenge because Hitati's off balance. Yes, there's contact, but because Hitati's off balance, that's what's taking him down, not that the challenge was unfair, if that makes sense.
This is why I love having Sean on a match day, Chris. You see a challenge, you scream penalty, and then you get the actual take on it. So, listen, I'm quite happy to take that. Chris, what about yourself? What was your view of that particular moment?
I mean, I'm the same as you. I always defer to Sean for these because I think Sean just has that different lens to what I have. I tend to be a bit more reactive at the time. Initially on first look and seeing it at full time. Again, it highlights how difficult the job of a referee can be because when you see that in real time, it naturally looks a lot worse, and it's not until you see the replays you think, well, okay, actually, it's maybe not quite as bad. I think it's one you could see it given, you could see it not, based on what we've seen over the past couple of seasons. So no real complaints. I think the fact is we're dominating, we're getting into the box, we're creating opportunities like that, by virtue of our play. So some you'll get, some you won't, but not too worried. There was one that I saw. Be interesting to get your perspective on it, Sean. I saw a different part of the game, which is when Trusty took what looked like an open-handed slap to the face at one point. Didn't look too malicious, but open-handed slap in the face in those conditions, that one would have hurt. And it was just at the point where he was going for a header for goals. So, was there anything in that, or was it just that coming together?
It's one of those ones, right? I don't think there was enough force. It's a high contact. Force was like almost zero, really. I think because Trusty immediately regains his composure and then has a header. So I don't. Yeah, I think he's maybe making the most of it after the fact. To be honest, I wouldn't be. The ref wouldn't. Most people be watching the ball, so wouldn't have seen it, and I don't think there was anything really there for VAR to dig up. I don't think there was. It would to give a foul there. It would have to be careless, reckless, dangerous. I don't think it was. You could maybe argue it was careless, but I don't know. It would be very soft.
There you go. What you're going to get? You're going to get balance from Sean, Chris. You're going to get balance every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's. Do you know what? I actually don't think the referee's having a bad game at all. There was a couple of, kind of 50-50s that I thought he called right. There's one I think where Trusty had the, Ross County player about half his size down at the touchline, but I was actually being held, and I thought the referee and linesman read it really well. So to give us a free kick. So I think there's been a couple of good decisions.
Right. The yellow card was spot on as well. Yep.
There's a couple of players
that's a bad one. Yeah.
I want to focus on. They're coming in the comments. The first one is Adam Ida. If you could let me know your thoughts on his first half performance, Sean. I think Adam Ida, for me, has played particularly well and he looks quite comfortable. I know that we're not playing with two up front, but to have that supportive player like Kyogo on his shoulder, I think it suits him. Yeah,
so I didn't see it because when we were in the pre-match, I didn't hear Roger's pre-match press conference, but I caught it just while I was watching along there, and he talked pre-match about the fact that Kyogo, well, putatively will be playing on the wing, will also be moving in and around the pitch, and he said that, in fact, wants all the players to be rotated and switching positions, and that's what we've seen. And the goal that we come from, Adam Ida is pretty much in the centre circle, and then it's AJ in the right wing who puts a cross in, and Kyogo's on the end of it, but Yang is right behind them as well. So we've seen what you're referring to there as Ida has a crucial part in that goal, even though he's not going to get an assist. He also has two good. I think if I'm going to be critical for one thing he did, I think he should do better with that chance in 9 minutes. But again, that's early in the game when the pitch is icy and he couldn't quite get his footing when he hits the side netting. But I think apart from that, his all-round play has been very good. Probably could have got the keeper pulls off a great save from the chance he does make. I would say, yeah, he's been good. Like, not outstanding. I'd like a little bit more, but he's been very good, both him and Kyogo.
Does it give Brendan food for thought? Because we have been very much sticking to one up top, Chris, right? And I know Kyogo's not playing centre forward today, but the link-up play, I've been pretty impressed with it. I mean, there was a few moments there where you're thinking there's an understanding between Ida and Kyogo, and it was great to see. And I know, listen, playing two up top, nobody does it these days, do they? It's old-fashioned, it's kind of old school. But to have two strikers, and I just don't think Kyogo plays that isolated figure that well. He seems far more comfortable. He seems to be enjoying his game more with Ida up top with him.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I've been crying out for it for ages that we need two players up there to tie up the defenders. Just having one up there. And Kyogo's not the most physical player, so I mean, it's like Land of the Slaughter. Sometimes you put him up against big defenders in the in the Scottish League, and I think the fact that Ida's up there, you've got Kyogo, Yang again to give him a wee bit of credit is coming in tying up the defenders. And one of the things I've noticed that's benefiting us is the fact that Alistair Johnson is getting forward and he's whipping in some absolutely tremendous crosses. I mean, the one for the goal was superb. I love the fact that both Kyogo and Yang were running into that, and it's a great finish. But AJ looks as though he's got acres of space at the moment, something that he's not had enough of this season. So he's having a great game as well, because I think Kyogo and Ida, by virtue of their link-up, are tying up the defenders that would normally be coming out and stifling those crosses. And, we've scored from it. So I think there's definitely value in looking at playing in some way, shape or form, playing Ida and Kyogo up front, because Kyogo, I've maintained for the past 2 years, I think, is that he's got that intelligent movement. He does, utilise his pace, he utilises his movement, his ability on the ball, a lot. I don't think he's clinical enough at the moment, and we saw that he was a bit wasteful with some of the chances, couldn't get the ball under his feet. The sort of reactive instinct's not quite there, but we've seen moments where Ida is, headed the ball down to him. Kyogo should finish. He's been able to kind of go into those pockets, almost a number 10 sort of role pocket. He's cutting inside, he's going into the number 10 pocket, in and around the box, he's getting in, and the defenders are struggling to pick the two of them up. So I think if we continue that in the second half, we'll definitely get a few more goals. You're seeing it's freeing up opportunities for players like Engels, to have shots as well, which is great. Lacey Calmack getting to maybe try one of his worldies today. If he's ever going to give a day for it, it's today. But yeah, we know Brendan watches this show, so I'm sure he's taking all this on board and is going to implement that for the rest of the season.
I think he claimed the other week he doesn't watch anything. He just sticks to his own guns. Now, big Arnie scalping it outside the box, things you like to see. Keep at it, Stevie boy. Yes, he does look as though he's going to get a goal or an assist today. He's one of these guys that started orchestrating just about every game that he's playing in. Keimatsu, Ida works well in the pivot, dishing the ball off, which I totally agree with this. And then Big Bruce comes in and says that he's got a first touch and it's honking. Couldn't trap a bag of cement. Not the day. He's not been like that today. I mean, listen, I think we spoke about this. There was a game last season against Kilmarnock where he showed that he could do that. He could hold the ball up. It was sticking to him. There was a couple of games this season where it was the opposite and it was bouncing off him. But I think all it was match fitness, getting that sharpness. He's looked sharp for me today. The Flying Haggis does every contributor across the Celtic pods have dogs?
Sorry.
I don't. I don't have a pet. I have no pets. None.
Oh, sorry.
You've gone red.
How dare he say that about my missus? How dare you?
It was your referee analysis, Sean. Didn't agree with it.
Yeah, that was what it was. Swiftly moving on. The travelling fans are fantastic, non-stop. Yes, absolutely. In horrible conditions up there. To be fair to the boys, they have tried to play some good football on a very poor pitch. Tempo has been good. How bad's that TV angle as well? That's a horrible.
So no depth perception. No, you can't get the depth at all. You
really can't. It's shocking. There you go. We've actually got Echo Tonal coming in to say camera angle is horrible. I agree with you. Lovely goal by Kyogo, says James Pearson. Liking Ali in this marauding position, picking up zones in the forward areas. We are bringing the ball out from defence, nice. But this pitch is very cut up. Hail, lads. At what point, if any, Sean, do we see the introduction of anyone from the bench? Because we were a bit excited to see names like Montgomery, Cummings and Johnny Kenny. The novelty factor of having not seen these players at all or for a while. Do we wait until we have the 2-goal cushion?
Probably, because the best players in the pitch are the ones that are most obvious for getting substituted, just based on who's on the bench, not meaning they're playing poorly. But yeah, Engels, Hatate, Baye have been 3 of the best players on the pitch, and they're the obvious subs to make. So I don't think we'll see any quick subs unless something happens.
I don't think I've seen Chris McElwain blushing, just quite like he blushed there, even when you're getting complimented, mate. So yeah, the dog
It's
didn't.
warm in here.
The dog didn't agree with Sean's penalty shout, but I
No,
thought
never.
it was very, very balanced. We're going into the second half. Don't know if there's been any changes yet, but join us at full time. 1,400 strong on the halftime bulletin is a sensational turnout. Thanks every single one of you for showing up and tuning in, and join us at full time on a Celtic State of Mind.
Yeah, well.